From the outside, their love looked like something Hollywood would script but never capture. Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet, two souls who seemed carved from the same poetic stone, had what everyone thought was unbreakable, the kind of bond built not on flash but on fire and depth, adventure, connection, loyalty. But what if all that was just a mirage? Because behind the perfect photographs and the soulful stares, something darker was unraveling, slowly, quietly, until it finally tore through their world. Now, after more than a year of silence, Jason Momoa has pulled back the curtain, and what he says has left even those closest to him stunned. At one point, he even confessed she was disgusting. Did he mean it? Or was that just the sound of heartbreak echoing out of context? To understand how it all collapsed, we have to go back to where it began, before the heartbreak, before the red carpets, when Jason was just a boy with a dream, and Lisa Bonet was the muse he hadn't even met yet. This wasn't just a love story. It was fate, obsession, fantasy turned flesh. Jason had admired Lisa from afar since childhood, watching her play Denise Huxtable on The Cosby Show with the kind of captivated gaze most kids reserved for superheroes. But to him, Lisa was something else, ethereal, otherworldly. He told friends even as a teenager that he would marry her someday. They laughed, but Jason meant it, and then it happened, in 2005, at a low-lit jazz club in Los Angeles. His path crossed with hers, not on a screen, in real life. He was young, unknown, still hungry. She was 12 years older, calm, composed, already a mother. But the second their eyes met, it was like someone whispered "told you so" into the universe. Jason was smitten immediately. No hesitation. Lisa, though she was cautious, wiser, she had loved before. Lost before. She wasn't easily impressed. But Jason had this wild energy. A mix of chaos and charm. She didn't fall instantly. But she leaned in. It wasn't long before they became inseparable. Not just lovers, but partners. Balance. He brought the wind. She was the anchor. Where she was stillness, he was storm. And somehow it worked. Their first daughter, Lola, was born in 2007. By 2008, they welcomed Nakovolf. Their family grew like roots, deep, strong, intertwined. Jason didn't just love Lisa. He worshipped her, called her his queen, his moon, his everything, and yet something was shifting, when they finally made it official, married in a quiet, hidden ceremony in 2017. It felt like the closing chapter of a fairy tale. But what if it was actually the beginning of the unraveling? No. One saw it at first, not even them. That's the thing about cracks, they're invisible when you're still dancing in the glow. But eventually the light fades and the shadows come out. The world saw the stars orbiting each other. What they didn't see were the subtle tugs pulling them in opposite directions. Jason's career exploded, from Game of Thrones to Aquaman. He went from cult favorite to global icon, and with that came the whirlwind, international filming, late-night press tour, the constant hum of cameras and lights, and obligation. Lisa. She had already lived that life, been there, burned out. She didn't want the circus. She wanted stillness, home, roots. Her life in LA grounded her. She loved the quiet. Jason, meanwhile, couldn't stop moving. At first, they managed the distance emotionally, physically, spiritually. They adapted. But the stretch became too much. Jason's world was changing too fast. Lisa's was becoming something else entirely. And then there was something or someone else. Lisa had remained close with her ex-husband, Lenny Kravitz. Their co-parenting was smooth, respectful, even admirable, but to some, it felt ... to close. Jason had always publicly praised Lenny, but behind closed doors. The situation was more complex. Imagine building a life with someone and constantly Feeling like you're sharing space with a ghost of their past, Lenny was always there. Not just as the father of Lisa's older daughter, Zoe, but as a friend, a presence. A shadow, insiders say it began to eat at Jason, quietly, slowly. He wouldn't say it, but it showed, in the way he pulled back. In the way the light in his eyes dimmed just slightly when the past was brought up again and again, and then one night a moment that would haunt him, a friend recalls Jason, during a heated argument, muttering under his breath, "She's disgusting," just 2 words. But they changed everything. Was it anger? Was it resentment? Was it the sound of a man watching his dream decay in real time? The truth is murkier than that. Jason would later explain he didn't mean it that way. Not literally, but when admiration turns to frustration. When connection turns to confusion, sometimes the words just spill out. The tension between them only grew. Even their parenting styles clashed. Lisa valued discipline, routine, a calm environment. Jason was the opposite, free-spirited, loose, instinctive. What used to be their strength difference became division. Then came 2020, the pandemic. The world stopped. But their problems and single quotes with the outside world shut down. The two were suddenly forced into a stillness that neither had truly prepared for. For Lisa, it was a return to self. For Jason, it was confinement. Their rhythms, once synchronized, now moved in disharmony. By the time they announced their split in January 2022, the truth had already been living between them for a long time. But this was no tabloid mess, no public meltdown. Just a quiet, solemn end. Or so we thought. When the announcement finally hit the internet, it landed like a THUNDRCLAP. Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet. Done. 12 years of love, for years of marriage. 2 children, over, just like that. Their statement, joint, polished, heartbreakingly composed, felt like a love letter wrapped in a goodbye. No shade, no scandal, just a peaceful parting. They wrote, "We shared this not because we think it's newsworthy, but so that we can go about our lives with dignity and honesty." It was dignified. But it was also devastating. For fans, it was a gut punch. For their inner circle, not as surprising, they had seen it coming. Felt it brewing beneath the surface. But for the rest of us, who clung to their story like a modern myth, it felt like the final chapter in a fairy tale that had been quietly unraveling. There were no tears in public. No custody battles, no broken glasses or viral rants, just silence. But silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes it's just the sound of 2 people too tired to keep pretending. What stood out was how calm everything seemed. No bitterness, no lawyers with microphones. Just 2 people stepping away from the life they built, like ghosts slipping out of a home they once loved. And still. Something about it felt unfinished. Jason offered nothing more. No interviews. No late-night talk shows. No tell-all posts, just smiles at premieres. Quiet nods in interviews, and fans. They were left to guess. Why now? Why really? Why did a couple who had survived Hollywood, long distance, fame, and fatherhood finally break? Theories swirled: infidelity, jealousy, burnout? Some said Jason's rise was too fast, too consuming. Others pointed at Lisa, suggesting she never truly moved past her life with Lenny Kravitz. The truth, it remained locked behind Jason's eyes, until, 1 year later, he finally opened the door. In an exclusive sit-down interview, his first real words since the split, Jason dropped the facade. He looked different. Not broken, but changed. Softer, tired, wiser, and what he said. It wasn't tabloid fodder. It wasn't scandalous. But it was real, raw, human. I didn't see it coming, he said. Not the end, not like this. Asterisk he admitted that for a long time he was too wrapped up in chasing something, fame, purpose, validation, to see what he was losing. His voice cracked just slightly. A few years ago, I couldn't get a call back. Now I can't catch my breath. It all came so fast, and I thought she'd be there beside me forever, asterisk, but she wasn't, asterisk. Lisa, he explained, wasn't interested in that life anymore. Not the red carpets, not the private jets. She had done that already. She liked our life at home, our garden, the kids. The silence, I needed the chaos. I thought we could find a middle. But we couldn't, asterisk. He wasn't blaming her, if anything. He was blaming himself, asterisk. He talked about the time zones, the long shoots, the months away. How sometimes he'd call home just to hear her voice and she'd be asleep, or busy, or just not there emotionally anymore, asterisk. We started becoming strangers, he said. And I didn't notice it until I was already halfway around the world, asterisk. And then came the line, the one the internet would take and twist and chew for weeks, asterisk. At some point, I looked at her and thought she was disgusting. Even the interviewer paused, shocked, asterisk. Jason shook his head. Not like that. I mean, the way we looked at each other had changed. The admiration, the awe, it wasn't there anymore. I saw someone I didn't know, and I know she saw the same when she looked at me. It wasn't cruelty, it was clarity, and it hurt. Jason wasn't proud of the thought. He wasn't angry when he said it. He was grieving, asterisk. We had built this life. And it was beautiful, but we didn't fit anymore. Not in the way we used to, asterisk. He paused, his jaw tightening just slightly. She was still beautiful. Still smart. Still all the things I fell in love with, but she wasn't mine anymore. Not really, asterisk. It wasn't about betrayal. It wasn't about one big fight. It was about the slow drift that turns lovers into roommates. Roommates into strangers, asterisk. He admitted that the hardest part wasn't the end itself, it was realizing that it had ended long before they said it out loud, asterisk. Sometimes you're so in love with a memory, you don't notice the person in front of you has changed, asterisk. It wasn't a scandal. It was sadder than that. It was two good people outgrowing each other, asterisk, and still there was something beautiful in the way he spoke about her. Not as an ex, not as a regret, but as someone who had once been his everything. By the time their divorce was finalized in January 2023, it barely made headlines. Not because people didn't care, because there was no mess to feed on. No chaos, no clickbait. Just quiet closure, asterisk. The documents were filed in Los Angeles. The reason? That cold legal phrase, irreconcilable differences, but behind that bland wording was something far more human. Years of unspoken sadness. Unhealed wounds and truths too painful to admit in real time, asterisk. There were no screaming matches in court. No battles over millions. No tug-of-war over the kids, just grace. Quiet, hard one, but real grace, asterisk. Jason and Lisa had already made the hard decisions long before the paperwork. They agreed to share custody of their children Lola and Nako Wolf with. No drama, no child support demands, no accusations of who did what or who failed whom, asterisk. It was almost eerie how civil it all was, asterisk. But maybe that's what happens when two people truly loved each other. Maybe, even in the end, they wanted to protect what they built, not just for themselves but for their children, asterisk. Behind the scenes, friends say the hardest part wasn't dividing property. It was dividing routines, holidays, morning rituals. Knowing which parent would be there for a school project or a heartbreak, or a birthday candle. Asterisk. Still, they did it, asterisk. They prioritized peace over pride. They put their children first, not as a slogan but as a reality. And in that, they found a strange kind of strength, asterisk. Jason, despite the chaos of his career, made it a point to show up. Whether it was flying back between shoots or fast timing. From time zones away, He refused to let his kids feel the void. "I'm still their dad," he once said. "Even if the world pulls me in every direction, they come first." Lisa was the anchor. Always had been. She kept things grounded, warm, structured. Her home became the constant, the safe place. She didn't let her grief spill over. She held it in like a mother protecting her cubs from the storm. And together they pulled off something rare, a peaceful ending in an industry addicted to public disasters. Even more surprising, Jason's continued bond with Zoe Kravitz, Lisa's daughter from her marriage with Lenny. He didn't disappear from her life. He didn't pull back. He stayed cheering her on, attending her premieres, celebrating her wins. In interviews, he still called her his bonus daughter. It was as if the divorce split a marriage, but not a family. But even in all this maturity, one thing remained beneath the surface: a quiet mourning. Not for what went wrong, but for what was once so right. Jason never denied it. He still missed her. Not Lisa as she is now, but Lisa as she was in the beginning. The woman who shared his dreams, laughed at his chaos, balanced his wildness with stillness. You can love someone and still let them go, he once said, almost to himself. That's the hardest part, realizing love isn't always enough. After the dust settled, after the papers were signed and the social media buzz faded into yesterday's gossip, Jason Momoa was left with something no one could see but everyone could feel. An ache. Success still surrounded him. His face still filled movie screens. His name still lit up marquees. But behind that success was a man quietly mourning something no camera could capture. He never spiraled, never ranted, never lost himself in public. But every now and then, during interviews, there was a pause, a flicker in his eyes, a silence that spoke volumes. And when he finally did speak again, fans noticed something had changed. I gave everything to that relationship, he said calmly, and I don't regret a second of it. But we weren't speaking the same language anymore. He talked about how fame distorts time, how you blink and a year is gone, how chasing dreams sometimes means leaving behind the very people who once helped build them. I thought she'd be there through it all, he confessed. But I was building something bigger than I could handle. And she didn't sign up for that. It wasn't bitterness, it was honesty. Brutal but clean. Still, even in the truth, there was something he didn't say, something he held back. And fans picked up on it. Online, theories started to spiral. Some believed it wasn't really over, that a reconciliation was inevitable. Others swore that Lisa had already moved on, emotionally detached and at peace. But there was one thing everyone agreed on. The story didn't feel finished. You could see it in the way Jason still spoke about her, never in past tense. You could feel it in Lisa's interviews, always poised, always respectful, but never dismissive. Even when they weren't together, they felt connected, tethered by something deeper than romance. Maybe that's what made their split so hard to process. It didn't come with an explosion, it came with silence, stillness, a door left slightly ajar. Jason didn't close that door. Not completely. He moved on in his career. New films, new co-stars, but romantically, publicly. There was nothing serious, no rebounds, no PR-approved relationships. Lisa, too, stayed private, peaceful, grounded in her space. She didn't chase the spotlight. She never did, but the idea, the possibility of them finding each other again, it lingered, even now. Fans hold on to it like a thread, hoping, wondering, because maybe, just maybe, this isn't the end of their story. As time moved forward, so did they separately, but never fully apart. Jason's life remained kinetic. He traveled, he worked, he smiled on red carpets. But when he spoke of home, it wasn't a place, it was a time, a feeling. A woman named Lisa, Lisa, on the other hand, disappeared deeper into stillness, not out of sadness but preservation. She focused on her children, her peace, her own personal renaissance. Hollywood moved on without her. And that, perhaps, was exactly what she wanted, but beneath all of it, beneath the headlines, beneath the polished Instagram posts, beneath the public gratitude and the quiet strength, there remained something haunting, a connection that never fully dissolved, they weren't lovers, they weren't enemies, they weren't strangers. They were something in dash between. Jason admitted it himself. Will always be family, he said in a rare off-camera conversation. Not just because of the kids, but because we lived a story most people only dream of, and no matter where we go next. That doesn't just disappear. And maybe that's the most mysterious part of all. Not the breakup, not the quote. Not the silence, but the fact that some love stories don't end in flames. They just change shape. Jason and Lisa aren't together. Not today. Maybe not. Ever again, but the space between them. It's not empty. It's filled with everything they were. Everything they built, and everything they quietly still protect. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with questions, with what-ifs. With memories that aren't ours but still feel personal. It leaves us holding on to the hope that maybe, just maybe, the story isn't over, because sometimes love doesn't die. It just waits. Waits for the noise to fade, for the chaos to settle, for the two people who once fit like poetry to remember what it felt like to rhyme. For now, they walk separate paths. But some roads circle back. And as long as that possibility exists, as long as we remember the way they looked at each other in the beginning, we'll keep watching, waiting, wondering. What do you think? Was this the end of something beautiful? Or just the intermission before the final act? Drop your thoughts below. We read every comment. And who knows, maybe Jason and Lisa are watching too. Thanks for joining us on this emotional journey. Until next time, stay curious.